Erik here. Note to self concerning the bowl by Erik van Hoorn for the Strata project. Just remove the poles which were intended here to support the bending of the carving of the trees. They've served their purpose so far, and it seems that there's some serious replanting still needed to be done. There are gaps over there, and some of these, which I think those are replanted at some stage. There are still problems with those. I will go through them quickly. One problem is that during the carving process, the bending process, when there have been the structure here where they have been attached to, so that they would start to live like a bowl shape. The tension of the bending has been too strong, and the woods have suffered severely from that. And these sorts of structural problems might result into insects getting in there, and then funguses getting in there and rotting the root from within. And it might even be that it's already started there. We'll get a diagnosis for that from someone who is specializing in trees. There's also damage seen there. Then there are these particularly sad examples. If I'm not mistaken, then these are planted after the first ones, because those seem to be relatively old, 20 years or so, and these are much younger, or they have never grown. These are rotten already from inside, and you can hear them crack when you push them. They need to go. Each tree which has been marked by these black tapes is set to go. Here is also a severely damaged one, and it's marked for cutting, partly because there is already a healthy example next to it, and this might actually even sort of its existence, which is shady. It's better to cut it away now, so this one gets more sun and then grows better. There's problems here going all the way up there. I think that the trees that they've planted here have been too old at the time, and they weren't really capable of coping with the struggle. This one has to go. It's rotten in from the bottom. Thought a lot about this one, but also I'm estimating that which direction it's sort of growing, and as it happens the sun is traveling in that direction there, or so I imagine that it is. If I remember it right, I have to check it, but I can see that the tree is sort of trying to live into that direction, which might balance it at some point. But after I hear from someone who is specializing in tree care, I will then know that if this sort of damage is something that we need to take into consideration. Cutting these will be difficult, because we need to support them inside to the center. We need to possibly get a car through there and then use that as a leverage to pull the trees back. This one has to go. The damage is going all the way up there, but this one seems to be mending itself. This one I allowed to live, but it seems to be dry, so there isn't any much hope for that one. Forgot to mark it. I have to mark that one for going. This one lives. This one lives. This is in pretty decent condition, but the problem also is with the bending here, that when they've been so tight, compact to each other, they have been trying to find sun in all possible ways. So this particular sample has been going through a hell of a trick there. Once it has been growing completely in the other way, then it has been possibly forced by ropes to grow in the other way again, but the curve is too strong, so it's crooked in the up there. And I don't know in 50 years what it'll look like, but I'm pretty sure that this shape, which is in the bottom here, will not be as strong in 50 years. This one can live. This one is a good example of a tree that is growing well, but as you can see, it's settling in. Also, one key thing is that you can see with the leaves that possibly we should cut these lower branches away completely to give more room for the shape, so that we could see more of the white going up with all of these as they grow. I mean, the height might be the longest one there, and the height of that one is pretty decent. It's enough. But cutting the lower branches from there until like 3 meters or 5 meters. That would give it more structure, then it would be also equal the shape on each tree, and you would see that there's some care taking place here. This one is droughting as well, but it's still kicking ass. The sun, if it is really coming from that direction, that is the blame. Here are two futile attempts, they gotta go. And here's also, I don't know who's responsible for this sort of solutions here. But this, you can see, this is possibly the damage from the bending also. The bending is going well there, the fungus is coming out, but then there have been some desperate attempts to push it back which fail. This one I'm still letting to live, or promoting to live, because I think that in time, if we get rid of those, it might get some sun. And this is the one that we could possibly think about supporting into the central beam somehow. Because it's no longer benefiting from any sort of stretch from here in the ground level. It should be stretched from high up. And then the only solution I've sort of thought about was that we use the center pole as a gravity center for it. The concrete seems strong, we can put an iron there and then use that to sort of keep it in shape. But if it... well, I have to think about this, but I think looking at it now it has to go, but I was optimistic an hour earlier. Then there are futile attempts in the back. This is a particularly good example. The only thing that we need to be doing here is chopping the lower branches away so we can get it sort of white all the way through. And these are not desperate attempts. We need this to sort of make the gate here for people to enter. And there are some problems. And also it seems that they're tilting that way as well. So the idea, of course, is that they would be growing geometrically to the center, according to the center position, but they've managed to hack the system, the trees. All right, these are the poles that I took out. These were the lower ones. These are for supporting the long ones.